Well, I spoke today about the challenges the U.S. and some other countries are facing in a variety of areas. One is the competition with smart machines that we're facing that is raising productivity but also reducing jobs, or at least good jobs, in so many countries. So you have this mismatch where productivity is rising, wages are not, are stagnating. In the U.S., we've had essentially no growth in real wages on average, weekly wages in terms of take-home pay since 1965. So this is completely different from the history of the country before that period. You know, we have this thing called the American Dream, which is that every generation does better than the last generation and than their parents, and that's really come to an end. So I talked about that. I talked about the fiscal challenges. The U.S. has an enormous amount of liabilities off the books. All our Social Security bills, all the obligations for Medicare, for Medicaid, for defense spending into the future, they're not recorded as liabilities, nor are the taxes to pay for these things recorded as assets. So economists argue, and I'm arguing, that you need to put everything onto the books, and when you do that, you get what's called the fiscal gap, which is the present value difference between all the spending commitments and all the taxes to cover those commitments. The fiscal gap in our country is $200 trillion large, according to numbers derived from the Congressional Budget Office. So these are projections from the CBO. And $200 trillion is dramatically larger than the $13 trillion of debt held by the public. It's just day and night. So almost all our liabilities are off the books. And to come up with $200 trillion in present value, we need to immediately and permanently raise taxes, every single federal tax, by 53%. So another way of saying this is that our country is 53% underfinanced. To put this in perspective, the Detroit pensions were 20% underfinanced when Detroit declared bankruptcy. So our country is broke. It's not broke in 50 years or 30 years or 20 years. It's broke today. We have a $200 trillion credit card bill that we're not paying interest on. And that's the situation that our politicians are failing to address. One of the things I did was announce that I'm running for president as a write-in campaign candidate, and I just launched that. I've got a lot of media so far covering this, and you know that over half of this country are saying publicly in response to poll questions that they disapprove of both candidates, both Secretary Clinton and Mr. Trump. So we're looking for some answers that are not the politics as usual variety. And I'm trying to offer those at my website, which is kotlikoff2016.com.